and today I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about the real truth of failing. And I wanted to start out with a story of a man named Eric Thomas. It's kind of a sad story. At the age of 16, he was kicked out of his home, and he was homeless for actually a couple of years. And with that, he decided, you know what, I'm tired of eating out of trash cans, and I'm also tired of living in abandoned buildings, so I'm just going to go ahead and try to get my GED. So he did, and then he decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and try to get my 4-year degree. And it just didn't take him 4 years. It actually took him 12 years to get a 4-year degree. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, 12 years to get a 4-year degree, in my mind, that's failing. You know, I mean, that's ridiculous. But the good thing is he didn't have the same mindset as I did, because today he's actually one dissertation away from getting his PhD, and he's also a motivational speaker throughout the United States and also parts of Europe. And learning about this, it actually made me ask myself, what about if this was me? You know, if I had to go to school for 12 years to get a 4-year degree, could I be able to do that? And the answer is most likely not, because, you know, I really do have a hard time about failing. I mean, what would my wife think of me if I fail? What would, worse off, what would I think of myself being a failure? And so, learning about this, you know, just paralyzed me. And I don't know about you guys, but how many of you guys would feel the same way that I do of failing? You know, anybody fail in here, or at least have a fear of failing? Okay. Anybody that's not raising your hand have a problem with lying? Come on. Everybody has a fear of failing, right? So instead of going through life not living to our fullest potential, I'm going to go ahead and try to persuade you on viewing failure as actually a positive event instead of a negative one. And by doing this, I'm going to share two common things. One is the common myth of failing, and number two is what we can do to use failure to our advantage. So let's go ahead and get down to it. There's too many people inside this world, including myself, that feel that because we failed in the past, we're now considered a failure. Personally, I have worked on my health for pretty much all my life. And I've tried diet after diet, and I've tried to do the mindset of, okay, well, this is now a lifestyle change. I've done that like 15, 20 times. Still doesn't work. You actually have to cut back on your eating for that to work. And then also, I've failed in my business as well in Kansas City. In Springfield, Missouri, before I failed, I was actually a successful lawn care business owner. But then, whenever I moved, I got married to Katie and in Kansas City, and then I just wasn't getting the lawns, and sure as hell wasn't making the exact same amount of money that I was making then. So it was really, really hard for me to go through that. And what kind of comforted me was Kenny Silva on November 23rd, 2010, and the 7 myths about failing. He states, if you fail once and refuse to move on, then you have truly experienced failure. When I learned this, it totally changed my mindset of being paralyzed to learning from my mistakes and moving forward. And I also love Ashley Wiltz and Noah Plow. They actually wrote on a website 26 successful people who failed at first. They actually wrote this on July 20th, 2012. Winston Churchill failed the 6th grade, and he was defeated in every public office role he ran for. And me, whenever I die, I want to be Winston Churchill. I mean, who doesn't, right? I mean, a great leader, a person that gives hope to millions of people. I mean, what's wrong with that, right? So, but I won't be able to do that if I worry about failure and I allow that to affect the rest of my life. So don't let fear of failure control your life anymore. And so start looking, and to do this is to actually start looking at failure as an opportunity to learn. And to do this, one of the things is to look at the resources that are out there to actually help you, books. There's actually a great book by John Acuff called Start. And there's also interviews on the web. Actually, Dan Schwabel, he actually had an interview with John on May 9th, 2013, which discussed the premise of this book of why most people don't reach their full potential and how you can learn how. And then also teachers and mentors. One of the best ways people learn is learning from other people's mistakes, and also having mentors, being able to mentor them on how to deal with the mistakes that they make. And you will live a life of misery if you don't see failure as an opportunity. The reason why is because we're all human. We all make mistakes. We all fail, right? But the thing is to learn how to view the failure. I want to actually share a story about Dave Ramsey. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of him. Awesome. Well, he actually started from nothing, and then he grew a business, actually grew to a net worth of $1 million at the age of 26. Then he lost that by the banks actually calling in all his notes. So he went bankrupt, and also he almost had a divorce as well. And so, but the good thing is that he looked at that as an opportunity, in which now he is a multimillionaire because he's helped millions and millions of people learn how to build their wealth in a smart way instead of the way that he did it before. So they learn from his mistakes. And so after hearing all this, you might be thinking of taking actually a safe route. Why not, right? I mean, why go through all this pain of failure and horrible experiences when I don't have to? Well, in my mind, and this is just me personally, if you don't ever try to reach your fullest potential, you failed automatically. You know, I mean, if it's just common sense to me. And then, but you also may be thinking, people that fail, they're probably huge risk takers. And of course, there's sources out there that actually agree with you. I mean, Brittany Banowski actually wrote this on July 9, 2012. The failure myth. Why failing more often is bad for you. She actually said the failure movement is the increasingly relaxed attitude toward risk-taking and failure. For example, we hear motivational anecdotes of people failing their way to success, and we come to believe that we too can emerge from the same challenges unscathed. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying to not do a cost-benefit analysis and to actually look at the reward of it. I mean, take me for an example. I am an entrepreneur, but I'm not going to put me and my wife Katie into a position where we may actually go bankrupt because of my stupidity and my actions. So that's something to think about. So I actually discussed two things, again, the common myth of failing and what you can do to turn your failures into opportunities. And I wanted to end with a quote from John Wallace Hamilton. He said, "People are training for success when they should be training for failure. Failure is far more common than success. Poverty is more prevalent than wealth. And disappointment more normal than arrival." Thank you very much.